The Niners play the Cowboys on Sunday, and if the Niners win this game, it will be like the best win they've had all year. And I think they're better than the Cowboys, but I think we should take them seriously. So what is the biggest threat the Cowboys pose to the 49ers?
Yeah, they better take them seriously. This is going to be the toughest opponents they've faced in a while, at least. The Cowboys, I mean, look, like a month ago or so, I would have said, look, the Cowboys and the Niners, that's going to be a crazy matchup. But then you start watching, like, their defense start to slide a bit. You know, Dak's throwing picks left and right. But then you watch a game like that on primetime on the road against the Bucs, and it's like, I know the Bucs are a weak side. You got to give them credit. And I think that's ultimately what I saw from that game is, like, if the 49ers see that level of Dak Prescott, this is going to be a crazy battle. And that's pretty much going to be their biggest threat the Cowboys pose is Dak Prescott. If he is that level, if he's anywhere close to that, accounting for 5 touchdowns, now he's probably not going to count for – they're probably not going to put up 5 touchdowns against the Niners defense, but still, he's probably going to be threatening and damaging. I mean, I saw back some clips on Game Pass on All 22 film that Geno Smith like missed some receivers who were wide open deep, and he just took like a check down. Like I saw like a corner route that easily got split between Deshaun Gibson and over the top of Diamador Lenore. And that's something that Dak's going to look for. And Dak can hit that easily. I know he doesn't have like the greatest arm, but just like Purdy, like they're not afraid to throw it and deliver an accurate ball. So I think there was opportunities there that Seattle had that didn't tick with Geno that I think Dak's going to do. And then better yet, he has the legs to make a more scrambling play than Geno can because he's a little faster. Mm-hmm. He's a little more poised. He's more like pocket struck. He's a better player overall. But again, if you just get that same version, that high-level one who's taking care of the football, and he's slicing and dicing your defense, threatening with your legs a little bit, because he hasn't shown that to tuck and run. But if he does that, which is the Niners, you know, like you said, it's the Niners' weakness, then that's where I think it's going to be, you know, things are going to hit the fan.
I think that the Cowboys' run game poses a threat. No one's talking about the Cowboys' run game.
Really?
Niners shut it down last year. But what I'm looking at right now is a Niners defensive line, particularly the interior, that hasn't been strong against the run the last month. They got pushed around by the Raiders' offensive line, which isn't a great – I mean, is it a great offensive line?
Raiders? No. Hell no.
No. It's not a bad offensive line, but it's like it's an offensive line. It's like a big offensive line, and they kind of pushed around the Niners' D-line. And then in this last game, I thought the Seahawks were doing the same thing, and then Geno started turning the ball over, and they fell behind and couldn't run it anymore. But they did run for 100 yards. So the Cowboys have Zach Martin. They have big guards and centers. I'm a little concerned. I think Tony Pollard's a hell of a running back, even though he's a little small. And Ezekiel Elliott, like, he's not good anymore, but this is going to be more about the Cowboys' offensive line against the Niners' defensive tackles. Because for whatever reason, they haven't been playing their best the last month. I know they've had some guys come in, some guys come out. It's been a little bit shuffled there, but I don't know. The results speak for themselves.
No, I'm not giving the Niners that excuse. No, they've been getting a little punched a little bit. I honestly am not too scared of the Cowboys running game because of, first of all, Zeke is so slow that I think you can see him running from out of the backfield and catch up in time and swim past the block. And then also, like, yeah, the Cowboys offensive line is solid, but I don't think they're aggressive. And I think that's what we saw last year. And I think that's always been a thing that's been a trend with them. And maybe that's a tone set by Mike McCarthy. But that's one thing I know why, you know, Seattle had that success against the Niners. Like, look, it wasn't pretty. You know, Kenneth Walker wasn't getting like 5+, 8+ yard gains, but he was getting a lot of those like tough, like a death by a million paper cuts runs or just offensive drives that Seattle was putting up. Like, it was like, I feel like the whole time it was like, man, it feels like Kenneth Walker is gaining like 3 to 4 yards every carry, which is good because it's making it easier for the pass game. It allows them to go throw short when they have to. And I just think it's because of their toughness, really.
And it opens up play action. If you actually have a run game and you're committed to it, you have play action. And I feel like that's the formula to beat the Niners. You can't be one. They want to make you one-dimensional.
You got to be open.
They have Nick Bosa. You can't make Nick Bosa a pass rusher 50 times a game. You got to make him defend the run. Make this whole defense defend the run.
He had 0 pressures according to PFF.
So yeah, you got to be balanced. You got to run the ball on first down, and you got to like stay ahead of the chains. You got to take shots on play action. Dallas can do all of that.
Yeah,
they can follow the Raider blueprint like the Seahawks tried to, and I mean it'll come down to whether or not Dak wants to turn the ball over that day, kind of like Geno Smith. But if you run the ball and you keep the game close, you can at least do that part of the game plan. Then the other part, the Cowboys lost last year, but their defense actually did a pretty good job. They destroyed Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy was terrible in Dallas last year. He threw that pick at the end. His quarterback rating was 60-something.
Jimmy terrible in the playoffs?
They have a hell of a pass rush, and they have like DBs who don't drop the ball. So they're kind of built to play with a lead. So if the Niners fall behind and Brock Purdy has to face those pass rushers, I don't know if he's going to be able to run away from them. Like, they're very fast. Michael Parsons and Dorrance Armstrong and
he's not running
Marcus
past
Lawrence.
Parsons. No,
It's not going to happen.
Catching him.
So, yeah, this is going to be a very – yeah, we'll talk about the test for Brock. But, yeah, that pass rush, the Niners kind of need to avoid it by running the ball. You know,
Cowboys are going to be preying on Brock to evade the pocket so early when the
hold the ball, Brock.
Run straight into him.
Yeah,
Mike is going to be like, all right, I get to get off of, I get to leave McGlinchey or Trent Williams and just sprint towards you. That's easier.
That's the thing. Yeah, like when you're in the pocket, Trent Williams can protect you. As soon as you bail out to the left, now you're on your own. And he's been outrunning a lot of guys, but he's not going to outrun some of these Cowboys pass rushers. So they did a great job against Jimmy last year. Jimmy was hurt a little bit, but how's Brock going to do? He's done really well against, Seattle, and he hasn't faced one of these NFC East teams. These are the best teams in the NFC.
Yeah, and I think just to tie this up, just going back to Dak, I just think, look, the Cowboys have had success all year, but they have not looked as nowhere near as good as they did last Monday, and it was because of Dak. Like, you could say, like, okay, the run game's going to be good, but if Dak's throwing picks like he is, the Niners are going to be in that all the way. He needs to be that version. That's where I think it's going to be not only their biggest threat, but like their best chance of winning, and that's going to make it harder for the Niners to win.
You said the biggest threat the Cowboys pose is their quarterback, right? I mean, he can get hot.
I know it can be lazy. It's like, oh yeah, it's like the quarterback being influential is no duh. But it's like, yeah, but we've seen teams like overcome them. And it's like, I think personally, like we just seen like the Cowboys like at their best with him and throwing that well. And that was like elite. And that's one thing that I think we've always said is like elite quarterbacks. What's going to happen when the Niners place elite quarterbacks with their secondary?
That's true. And Dak isn't necessarily elite.
Just an elite performance he had, but yeah, he's not elite.
He can be elite. He can be in ways that Geno can't. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep taking shots at Geno, but he's a divisional opponent.
Geno's fine, but he's not going to be like someone that's going to be like, like you saw it. They got 2 offensive touchdowns out of him, but that's all you're good for. You know, that's
Geno's Jared Goff. Geno's Jimmy Garoppolo. You could like him. You could say he's above average. You could say yada yada yada. You're not.
I think Geno over Jimmy.
Whatever. Yeah, me too. I would too. But whatever. I mean, I don't really want either one of them. But with Dak, we saw it a couple days ago. He has the ability to go out there and play like a top level quarterback when he's confident and not getting hit. And that's the Niners made him unconfident, and they hit him a lot of times last year in the playoffs. Can they do that now? I mean, I don't know. Like, they haven't been doing it a lot. They've just been getting bad quarterbacks to turn the ball over. Like, I guess what I'm concerned about here is Jared Stidham wasn't good enough to pull off the game plan. But the game plan against the Niners works. But Stidham couldn't do it for 5 quarters. He could do it for 4. Geno could do it for 2. Can Dak do it for 4 quarters and win? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he just going to all of us? I don't know. He is the turnover king. We'll have to see.
I'm about to say, which version of Dak you going to see? Because if Dak's turning it over once or twice, I think it's going to be hard for them to overcome. The Cowboys, personally.
If he does that, they're toast. And I wonder how they'll feel about Dak going into the postseason. I know they love him right now.